Hello and welcome to Learning Music with Pat. Today I'm going to start off by discussing a little instrument of mine. I have brought it in before. It isn't rare, it isn't new. This is a tonette. And it would remind you quite closely to the other instrument that I have, which is similar to it, and that is the song flute. One of the bigger differences outside of the kind of sound that it produces, but I'll show you that in a minute, is the fact that the tonette has a bell. Any instrument that flares out, let me put it over here, I guess this is the easiest way to see it. Any instrument that has a part that flares out at the bottom, that is a bell. And as you can see, the tonette has a bell, and it has a traditional kind of notes, two places to put your thumbs in the back, but only one of them is a tone hole. The other's just a place to rest your thumb. All the tone holes in the front. Now I realize this is a black instrument. You may not be able to see all of this. And the song flute has got the same kind of thing. All the tone holes in the front. And in the back, it has two places. One is a tone hole for your thumb for music, and the other's a place to rest your other thumb. Well, I decided to bring it in, the tonette in particular. I want to focus on it, and the advertisers call it Tommy Tonette. So this is Tommy Tonette. How would I know it has a name? This is the book that comes with it. This is a book about meeting Tommy Tonette, and you'll notice that the instrument in the front is shaped like a tonette, and he is obviously playing a tonette, so it's kind of like a double image of the tonette. Now, why would I want you to see this? Well, I'm going to read to you what it says, and then I'm going to open up the kind of brochure that I have here on it and discuss what's in it, because there are fingering charts and all of that. So this is what it says. Hi there. I'm Tommy Tonette, and I want to show you a wonderful new world, the world of music. Here you will meet new friends and enjoy hours of fun. I am not a toy, but a real musical instrument. Ha ha, I don't believe it. Thousands and thousands of boys and girls have taken their first musical steps with me. Indeed, many of the famous musicians in America's great symphony orchestras learned to play a tonette when they were children. You will find me easy to play if you carefully follow my directions, and in just a few moments you'll be playing a real song. Now, it is a real instrument. I say I kind of doubt it, because if you look at it and if you play it, it doesn't sound quite like a regular instrument would sound. So I'm going to, but it is an instrument. And the reason I spend time with these instruments, the tonettes, the song flutes, and also the flutophones, instruments like that, is that school systems use them, and you can teach an awful lot of music on them, even if they're not a kind of instrument that you would see in an orchestra. You still have the basics of music that can be taught. So I'm going to play this tonette, but you're going to find that the tone is a little bit weak. Not too bad. The song flute's a little better. Whoops, let me get it right here. It's actually a stronger tone. In the key of C, if I play the flutophone, this is the flutophone. I'll make comparisons as we go along. This would be... This has a little better tone yet, and this is a flutophone. So let me discuss with you Tommy Tonette. I've read you the introduction. If you look at the front page, or you open it up, you have a interesting fingering chart, if we can pick that up. I'm going to have to hold it, I guess, unless I can bend it so that it will stay flat. Okay. Good. Now, here you have here you have the instrument. This is a tonette. This is the back of the instrument. It shows you the left hand goes on top, just with any woodwind. The right hand goes on the bottom, just with any woodwind. And the fingers are, it shows the fingers flat and straight across in either direction. This is where it kind of makes a mistake, but I don't see how they could have done it any differently. You never hold an instrument with your fingers flat, so don't take it too literally. I mean, this is the way it shows the fingers, as if you're holding them, as if you're holding them like this. But you wouldn't hold them like that. In order to play any woodwind instrument, you need to curve the fingers to the instrument. And that means if you're going to go from one note to another, you can do so quickly and easily if you keep your fingers flat. And the reason I mention it is that I've seen students do this. They think, they see a picture, the fingers are flat, so the fingers have got to be flat. And then they see the finger, the little finger twisted off to one side, and they think they've got to do that. Well, you don't actually play it like that, because your fingers are going to get in the way of each other, and you're not going to be able to have your holes sealed. When you have your fingers on the holes of any instrument, and that would include the open-holed flute, although a lot of flutes are not open-holed, you have got to keep your finger, the pad of your finger, over the instrument and close those holes. That means your fingers have got to be curved to do it. And that's the way it is with the tonette. This finger has a place to put it. There's a little place to put that finger, but it's not a regular tone hole. It's just a covered place to put it. And with the other ones, they're all in the right position. And the two holes in the back, this top hole you put your thumb on, that's the thumb hole that you need for playing the music. And the bottom one is just another little curved area where you rest your thumb. So you have always a place to put your thumb. That kind of gets in the way. The fact that your finger rests right there can be confusing if you're playing other instruments, because it doesn't exist on other instruments. Usually you hold your finger up a little. And that means you can get this finger interfering with this finger, and that can make it impossible for you or difficult for you to close your finger on this hole right. So, I mean, I would have designed it a little bit differently, but I know what they're doing, and it does make sense if you stop to think of it. If children are looking at it, then this does make sense. But I don't want this finger to interfere with this finger, which is the F. It's kind of close quarters. Now, if you look down here, the instrument appears upside down. This isn't usually done, but it is done. I've seen it done in some fingering charts, because you are standing here, and it's if you're holding your instrument up and you're on the end here. So these are the first two fingers of your instrument, and you would be here blowing into it. This is the first note that they show you how to play, and it's an A. This is an A. It's on, I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up, but it's on the second space of the staff. It's on the second place, and it's an A. And it's these two fingers, and the thumb hole has to be closed. And all of the notes that you play on this instrument, the thumb hole is closed except for the C, but I'll get into that later. I'm not even sure that they show that. So here's your A. Two fingers, thumb hole. What if I play the A on the flutophone? Same note, isn't it? Because they're in the same key. What if I play the A on the recorder? It's the same fingering. Two fingers down, thumb hole closed. So you see, all of these instruments have been pitched to be in the same key. What if I take one of my, is one of my translucent instruments. It's not too easy to play. It's hard to get tones out of it, but it plays in pitch. It's also the same A. By the way, just out of curiosity, if you have a telephone that's not a cell phone and you can get a dial tone, you can tune a guitar or a stringed instrument to your telephone. And the reason is the sound that you hear is a perfect A. When you hear the, I'm going to try this on this is my melodica, it's a Hona melodica. It's the A. When you listen to a dial tone on a telephone, you hear a combination of an A and the G right below it. It's something like this. You can take the top part of the note, which is an A, and tune the A of your guitar or violin or any stringed instrument to it, and then tune the rest of your instrument from there. So it's a little trick some people on. If they don't have a tuner, most people do, but if they don't have a tuner, they can go to their phone, listen to the pitch of the A on the phone, and then tune their instruments to it. I just thought I'd mention that. So anyway, that's you will get you get these pitches, and this is here the G. That's the A. This is the G, 3 fingers down, and this is the F, 4 fingers down. So A, right here, like I played it before, 2 fingers, G, and that's the F. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, the funny thing is, the book says you'll play a real song, and I think that's the song they wrote out. All you have to do is have 2 or 3 fingers down. You can play the whole thing, and it's simple. So A, G, F. Well, that's going to be the same fingering if you use your flutophone or if you used your recorder. I started off with a B, but the others I started off with the A. Or if you want to use, I'll use the LMI. This is a Korean instrument. Same thing. You can transfer an awful lot of what you learned from one instrument to playing other instruments. There's a transfer there, so I can play a lot on other instruments that I play on one. The same would be true for the flute. I didn't bring a flute in, but it has that same pattern for A, G, and F. The saxophone has the same thing. So there's a lot that you can have. Now, on the next page of this book, brochure, you open it up, and I don't know, it just shows you, I'm going to fold this. It gives you the way to play the C scale, and you have all of the notes covered, and then it'll show you how to play the D. Now on this picture here, and I'm going to have to hold her and it'll fall off, you lift that lowest finger from the C. The C has all of those notes covered. And on the D, you just lift up the lowest note. You wouldn't put your finger like in back like that. It just wouldn't be. You just lift it off. It'd be a lot easier just to lift it off. But you see this one less finger down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that little finger doesn't have anything to do, so they draw it like it's pulled back to the side. It's actually pulled off, but they draw it like you hook it in back. Now, let me show that to you. Here's your D. I'll show it to the recorder. A D has all fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 fingers. The C would have that finger covered, but the picture shows the D, so we'll work with the D. B, A, G, F, E, D. That's the low D. And then if you want an E, which is just a note up, all you do is lift one finger. that's the same, excuse me, for every instrument that I have. Now remember, these are all in the key of C. If you go down to the low C, you just add that extra finger. Or no matter what instrument that I have, it's going to be the same. You can see well, I'll try this on the song flute. It should be the same. So there you go. A lot of the instruments are the same, the way that they play music and even to the fingerings, you see. Now, if you continue with this, if I were to hold it up, you have, unfortunately, it's in the middle of the page, so it's not going to be very visible, but there's the C scale right there. It goes one octave, low C to upper D, and the fingering chart is right below it. Now, I can't point anything specific out to you. It is accurate, but it's going to be too small for you to see. And then on the bottom, you have music, jingle bells. Maybe I can get it to stay. All right, jingle bells. I'm reading it from the side. I added a little, but that's it. That's the song that it shows you to play. Now, why do I bother with little instruments like this? For one, they really are a blast to play. They're simple, they play well. A lot of them really do play well, and a lot of them are in pitch. And even if they're not exactly in pitch, you can use them to teach a lot of musical things. You can teach about scales, you can teach about sharps and flats, you can teach about all kinds of things, and you don't have to have a complicated instrument to do it. You can have a simple instrument and you can teach a lot of musical things. So school systems do use these simple instruments, and I think children get their first taste of what music is really like by using these instruments, and so they're kind of a blast to play. I do enjoy playing them. And I saw on television a whole orchestra and all of the musicians. These are professional musicians. I think they were from the Boston Symphony. And they were all sitting around in children's chairs, and they were playing notes and songs from little instruments like this. They played regular songs on toy instruments, and they were having a blast. You know, they were really enjoying themselves doing it. So there's an awful lot that you can learn from a simple instrument. I've chosen the tonette because I had the materials for it. I have, usually when you have a smaller instrument like that, you have a little booklet that comes with it, and it shows you a fingering chart or something like that. And so what I've been showing you, and we don't have too much time left, so I'll probably have to close with this, but what I've been showing you is that B-A-G-F. For the first time that you take lessons from me, and what I first did in my shows when I started like 8 seasons ago, B-A-G-F-E-D. Bag fed. And when I was asked to teach in a school system, somebody just said, Pat, teach us in the school system. For some reason, I didn't know anything about them, but I said yes, and I ended up by teaching music, B-A-G-F-E-D. But these instruments are like all the same. The longer the tube, the lower the note. So it stands to reason that you can get a scale just by adding a finger and adding a finger and adding a finger, because when you do that, it essentially makes the tube a little bit longer. That's B-A-G-F-E-D. That's 6 notes. Now the scale is only 8 notes, so you have the lower C and you have the higher C an octave above it, and that completes the scale. So if you do this with all of these, and here we go with the song flute. Then add your lower note. Most of the fingerings are the same. For the recorder, definitely the same. Same sequence of notes with a little Korean LMI, same thing. Now I'm going to show you a couple things here before I close. On here, if you're looking for the B-A-G-F-E-D, that's on the staff right here. Now it's on the staff here too, B-A-G-F-E-D, but you don't play the music in that direction. You always play the music toward the right, not toward the left, so you can't play that. If you were to play those notes, you would have to play the C, D, E, F, G, A, B in the other direction, so you'd have your C scale from low C to upper C. If you want that B-A-G-F-E-D-C, then what you have to do is play it as a scale down. B-A-G-F-E-D-C, and that's the way it is with all of these other little instruments that I bring in. One thing I want to mention, though, before I close, and I think I just have time to do that, the saxophone is the same way. B-A-G, then you skip this. These keys are operating, but you don't use your hands on them. They're operating from rods and so forth. And this would be your F, E, D, C. So you've got the same sequence, B, A, G, F, E, D, and then C. Okay, and I've got another photograph here of the saxophone. That's an excellent drawing, but if you look at the real instruments, the same thing. B, A, G, F, E, D, and that's your C right there. I did a little drawing of it. Let's see if I can get it here. I did a little drawing of it. This is my own drawing, a simplified drawing of the saxophone. B, A, G, F, E, D, and down here is the C. So it's all the same. And so the little instruments, I bring them in. They're fun to play. You can learn a lot from them, even if they don't pitch perfect. I had one instrument I bought, and they said to me, Pat, this is around the key of C. What does it mean to be around the key of C? It means it's not particularly accurate. It may be a little flat, it may be a little sharp, but for the sake of children playing and learning, that doesn't really matter a whole lot. I want to teach music so that you enjoy it, so you get to love it, so you get to understand it. You know, it's not a case of trying to make everybody a concert artist. Most people don't want to be concert artists, and even if they do, this is a good beginning for children to learn. So I'm going to close it here. We'll be doing something else next time. Please join me then.